Hello everyone, welcome to my short tutorial on how to install Linux onto a USB flash drive and a blank DVD drive. Without further ado, let's begin. It's time to wake up. Welcome to the future. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is find the URL on where to download Linux. Just so you know, it is a free operating system that you can download. So while going to Google, just type Linux. I typed Linux download. Find the official Linux URL page. And from within the site, you'll notice it says linux.org. There's a navigation bar. And just below where it says download Linux, there are several different versions that you can choose from. I have chosen to go with Ubuntu for this example. When you get into the next page, you will want to click on the actual name itself, Ubuntu, and you'll be asked if you would like to download the ISO file, which is what we do intend to be doing. And by doing this, I would recommend that you save the ISO file in a location that you know you can easily find on your computer. So for me, I have an additional hard drive, so I just simply created a new folder and I saved it onto there. Once the download is complete, all you have to do is simply install the ISO file on either USB or your DVD. All you gotta do is just put a blank DVD. I would recommend DVD-R into your external DVD drive, or a DVD drive that your laptop does come with, or if you're running an older desktop that does have a DVD drive installed. Afterwards, go to the file location of where your ISO file is, right click, select burn disk image. A window will pop up. The disk is already in there. You don't have to check the checkbox where it says verify disk after burning. And in this process, the ISO file is currently being burned onto the blank DVD disk that you inserted. So fast forwarding into the ending of the recording, the ISO file has been successfully burned onto the disk. Before we do the test, now I'm going to demonstrate how to properly install Ubuntu onto a USB flash drive. Just note, the ISO file is approximately a bit around 2 gigabytes, so recommended size is definitely between 4 to 8 gigabytes of a flash drive. So the same as before, while you're on Google, you want to type Rufus USB installation, and you should come up with a quick URL that will take you to the actual site where you can download the Rufus application. There are two versions. There's one where you can install onto the computer itself, and there's a portable version. I decided to go with the portable version, which is 3.11. It doesn't matter which one you get, it is primarily the same thing. So once you've chosen which Rufus you want to use, you want to activate it. And you'll notice that your flash drive is already visible. Right there where it says boot selections, you want to hit select and choose the actual ISO file, which is going to be the same location where you had before you put it in the blank disk. Leave the settings as default. We're not really going to change much here. And just hit the start button. It's going to ask you several warnings, or things to do before you want to make the complete format. This one's going to say write in an ISO image, say yes. This is going to say, hey, by doing so, anything that was previously on the flash drive is going to be formatted. You would hit yes, and then throughout this entire process, it's going to start burning the ISO image onto the USB flash drive. So fast forwarding to the end of the installation, your flash drive should be completed by at this point, and now you'll have two ways of installing Ubuntu. 2 ways of installing Linux onto your computer. Next, we're going to test both our DVD and our USB Linux installation on our test bench PC that you'll see is just laying around on the ground, and as you can see, it's ready to be fired up. So as you can see, the USB is connected to the motherboard, and since I don't have a push button switch to turn on the computer, I'm using a screwdriver to activate the computer, and I have it connected to my 4K television. Just for the heads up, I did have to configure the BIOS from within my motherboard because it was primarily always going to boot from the hard drive, so I had to adjust the boot up sequence so that I can have anything boot up from either a disk drive or a flash drive. So in this case, I had the USB flash drive as its primary. So here we are again. After saving the BIOS and shutting the computer down, turn the computer back on and repeated the same step, and you will notice that Linux will boot from the USB drive itself. So as you can see, Linux has pretty much been activated, and I chose not to install Linux, so it's actually running from the USB itself for those that just want to practice. And for the final test, it'll be the DVD drive installation. As you can see, it was a successful boot up, and just to show you proof, there is no USB connected to the motherboard whatsoever, showing you that Linux is in fact being run from the media disk itself, not from the USB drive. How amazing is that? That's pretty much it, guys. So as you saw, it wasn't really a whole lot of steps. All you needed was just a flash drive that was big enough to contain the ISO file and a blank DVD disc that you can get the job done. So just know that you can do either or, they work fine. And also please note that you may most likely have to configure the BIOS so that you can boot up the installation software from either the disk drive or the USB itself. It's always important to check that BIOS settings. And this video was made for my college class, Computer Forensics, and I made it to share it with my fellow classmates. And if any of them have any questions to me, I'll be more than happy to answer it for them. For anybody else that actually watches this video, hey, thank you for actually checking out this video. And well, once again, this was primarily made for just for school. Alright, for everybody else, have a good day.